first thing I recall from my childhood days, like the first thing I recall doing that I was so proud of myself was that I drew a perfect dress at age 5. And now it ran back to my mind, that was a sign I was supposed to be a fashion designer. Hello, I am Queen Enidiok, the owner of Queen E Collection. Usually when people just, when they ask me, what's your name? I'm like, Queen. I'm like, okay, now what's your real name? Some people go ahead and ask, like, how did you get that name? I'm like, well, my mom, I'd say she thought I was so beautiful when she gave birth to me. She named me that, just thinking, I'm pretty sure she just thought, oh, Queen, that's a beautiful name to give to my daughter, not really knowing that there is a destiny attached to your name. Queen E Collection is an apparel brand that, all in all, aims to bring out the individuality, the richness of a person's character. And Queen E, the female line itself, aims to, give a young lady, a young woman, that confidence to bring out the true queen in herself. She already has discovered that, or she's in the process of discovering who she is. Queen E Collection was birthed out of adversity, and when they say adversity brings out the greatness in you, it's really true, because for me, it wasn't, I grew up wanting to be a fashion designer or anything. My initial intention was to be a medical doctor. I went to school for it, all my track, science. And then after school, I had a whole bunch of, a lot of things happen in my life, like many others. You have hard times, difficult situations around your families and everything. So I was placed in that position where, to be very candid, I love clothes, I love fashion, I love looking good, but I was also the type of person I didn't like to wear the same thing that everybody was wearing. And I couldn't afford the things, I have expensive taste, if you want to put it that way. Couldn't afford the things I really wanted. So, I had this idea, okay, I want this skirt, let me make it for myself. I mean, if I can't buy the $80 one that I see online, or, how about I see if I can make something similar, So that's how it kind of started. I always knew I wanted to go into clothes, like the full-blown thing, but I just didn't know how to start. So I was like, okay, little by little, I know, okay, I'm going to go to med school. Once I'm done with med school, I'll come back and visit this. But I knew where my heart was, and I knew where God actually wanted me to be. I didn't know where God wanted me to be at the time, so I started praying. That's where I would be in the library studying for my MCAT, and I could be like, I could have a photo shoot in here. So all these ideas were coming to my head while I'm studying. So I could spend a whole day, like 8 hours in the library. I would absorb zero information, but I'll come up with all these designs. And I started praying, seriously. I'm like, God, please, what do you want me to do with myself? Because I don't want to waste my time, spending years on a track that you don't want me to be in. So and I asked him specifically, open doors for me in this avenue that you want me to be. And I was in a medical field related kind of job, and I just felt some stagnation in that area. And for some reason, little doors were opening for me in the fashion avenue. So I would walk through, another door would open, I'll walk through, another door would open, I'll walk through. So, as I got closer and closer in my relationship with God, He started opening my eyes to see more and more what His plan was for me. That's when I made up my mind fully. I had made that phone call. My mom was in Nigeria at the time. And African parents, you cannot tell them you're not going to be a doctor. Whew, so I called her, and there was a fashion show I really wanted to come do in Nigeria. She's based in Nigeria. Obviously, I'm funding myself at this time. And I called her, I'm like, you know what? I have something to tell you. This is the path I want to go. I'm sorry, I know you told all your friends I'm going to be a doctor and everything, but I don't want to be a doctor. So I called her, I was like, I'm coming to Nigeria for a fashion show, and I want you to launch myself. This will be me launching my brand, and because Queen E Collection is inspired by my Nigerian roots, my heritage, and no other place to launch it than in Nigeria. So I registered for the fashion show. It was called African Fashion Week, Nigeria, Lagos, London. They have it in London too. And she screamed and screamed and screamed and screamed, and I was like, I already made up my mind. I'm coming. At this point, I was ready to take any backlash or whatever the case may be. Obviously, still being very respectful. I remember calling one of my cousins, telling her, because I needed some financial assistance at the time, calling her, telling her, oh, I need you to help me. I'm trying to buy my ticket, but before I get the money for the ticket, because it's really close, I want to put in your card. And then she was like, she basically turned me down. And then next thing I know is like, oh, you have to go back to school. I don't know what you're doing. Blah, blah, blah. Get your life together. This fashion thing is not making sense. Not African parents want to hear that their child wants to be a fashion designer from wanting to be a medical doctor. So I kind of just put like a one, whatever they said came in one ear and one out the other. Of course I thought about it, but I already made up my mind. I personally don't consider having, $1 million in my account or driving whatever cars or having a mansion a success, because you could be a businessman and be successful as a businessman. But if God's plan for you was to be, let's say, a pastor, was to be a philanthropist, and you haven't done anything in that field, you haven't achieved success, because that's not, I see success from the point of view of, my faith, what God wants you to do with your life. Until that has been achieved, then you've achieved success. And and another way I see success is having impact in the life of others. There's an image of, I have like maybe 15, 16 models in different African prints on Instagram, like everywhere. And then obviously have another image with my model. She's like sitting on the throne from my last fashion show, and it's like that's the essence of Queen E collection. Every woman, every young girl, whether she knows it or not, she is a queen. That's what we're here for. Queens are not just for like the royal family. We are all royal, So that's the message I'm trying to get across. It's not easy. You have to continue to develop yourself. I'm still in school, because if worst come to worst, still have to get a job that pays a lot more. That way you can build the brand to the level that you want it to be. If you're in a position where you don't have an investor that you need, or if you're not looking to have an investment. So I work 9 to 5, come home, take care of orders all day, every day, all weekend. School starts, do what you have to do. It's not beds of roses. You have to take one step at a time. So for me right now, Queen E collection started out of, I wouldn't say out of nowhere, but I work, and that's where the investment money is coming. I don't have any investor or anything, or I don't have any family member that is in a position to help me, put the brand in a, give me the funds that I actually need. So I have to work to pay my bills, work to invest money into the business, and I'm still working currently, and I'm probably not going to stop working for a while. My dream for Queen E collection is to sit on Fifth Avenue, fashion night out coming up, like, fashion week is like this week coming up, and I would have that little party and everybody coming to my store, get their little champagne, have my waitresses, and people are shopping and having a good time. My number one dream is to I'll say my goal and my vision right now is, I'm not looking to have a store, but I want my first store to be set up on Fifth Avenue, right next to Christian Dior, right next to Fendi, right next to Gucci. And yeah, that's the goal for Queen E collection. That's the dream. There are two kind of people: the ones that dream and the ones that actually have their dreams become a reality. So if you dream without any actions, it becomes just a dream.